All right, people, hold on 1 second. Here I come. Going back to the camera. All right. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Get my book out. I ain't pulled it out yet. About to go into the weekend. For those that don't work the weekend, hang out, get some rest. Especially if you've been working hard all week. All right, beautiful people. It is October the 8th, 2021. Day 273 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets and of the 3-year consecutive day count. Day 942. Today we're reading Job 19, 20, and 21. We pick up in Caesar's Messiah in chapter 11. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get this going so we can do what we came here to do today and get rolling. All right. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and do the Shema. Auntie. Hey, girl. Hey. Let's see. Pull up the Shema, which is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6. All right. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 6. Excuse me, starting at verse 3. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily. Hold on. Did I do something wrong? Uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. Ooh. Did I click off YouTube? I see my camera still rolling, but you are gone. Hold on. Ooh. What happened? Oh, I don't know what happened. That's weird. That never happened before. Okay, cool. That was weird. The whole thing just disappeared and it went to like it was a whole nother page. Okay. All right, y'all. All right. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the mighty one of our fathers, has promised us in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one. And you shall love Yahuwah, your mighty one, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. Excuse me. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our mighty one, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah, our mighty one, as he has commanded us. Okay, y'all. Let's go ahead and hop on over here to... Okay, thank you, Auntie. All right, yeah, that was weird. The whole thing just kind of disappeared, so it looked like everything went away. Yeah, okay. All right, y'all. Let me pull up Job. Job, chapter Job 19. All right, y'all. Remember, we're reading from the New Living Translation. Okay, I think I'll start saying that because quite a few people will be asking me. Okay. Job chapter 19, Job's sixth speech, a response to Bildad. Then Job spoke again. How long will you torture me? How long will you try to crush me with your words? You have already insulted me 10 times. You should be ashamed of treating me so badly. Even if I have sinned, that is my concern, not yours. You think you're better than I am, using my humiliation as evidence of my sin. But it is Yahuwah who has wronged me, capturing me in his net. I cry out, help, but no one answers me. I protest, but there is no justice. Yahuwah has blocked my way, so I cannot move. He has plunged my path into darkness. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He has demolished me on every side, and I am finished. He has uprooted my hope like a fallen tree. His fury burns against me. He counts me as an enemy. His troops advance. They build up roads to attack me. They camp all around my neck. My relatives stay far away, and my friends have turned against me. My family is gone, and my close friends have forgotten me. My servants and maids consider me a stranger. I am like a foreigner to them. When I call my servant, he doesn't come. I have to plead with him. My breath is repulsive to my wife. I am rejected by my own family. Even young children despise me. When I stand to speak, they turn their backs to me. My close friends detest me. Those I love have turned against me. I have been reduced to skin and bones and have escaped death by the skin of my teeth. Have mercy on me, my friends. Have mercy, for the hand of Yah has struck me. Must you also persecute me like Yah does? Haven't you chewed me up enough? Oh, that my words could be recorded. Oh, that they could be inscribed on a monument, carved with an iron chisel and filled with lead, engraved forever in the rock. But as for me, I know my Redeemer lives, and he will stand upon the earth at last. And after my body has decayed, yet in my body, I will see Yahuwah. I will see him for myself. Yes, I will see him with my own eyes. I'm overwhelmed at the thought. How dare you go on persecuting me, saying it's his own fault? You should fear punishment yourselves, for your attitude deserves punishment. Then you will know that there is indeed a judgment. Next chapter, Job chapter 20. It's muffled. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. Uncle JB, good morning. My phone is muffled. I don't know. You know what? I was listening to the video yesterday and I thought it may have been a program that was playing in the background that I didn't realize before I started. I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm gonna test this video. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to check and see what's going on with it. It's still sounding muffled now, Tiffany. You try going out, coming back in, just kind of double checking. It might be because Shayla said something yesterday too. Maybe it wasn't bad enough where it bothered too many people. But I'll check it. If I listen to the video today and it still sounds the same way, it is okay. I'm sorry, y'all. Hop over to YouTube if it's really bad. I'm gonna have to check it out. You know what? I just thought about something. Day before yesterday, when I was at the mall, I had them fix my screen. Sounds like the mic is covered. No. Oops. We'll take the phone. Let me try this. Let me take it out my case for you. Let's see if that works. Hold on. Does that sound better? Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Does it sound better, Tiffany? I took it out the case. I want to get my screen fixed because it was cracked, and I'm not sure. Well, they shouldn't. It shouldn't affect the sound unless they was tinkering with something, which I don't think they would have been. No, not better. Then again, they could have been. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, y'all, for the bad sound. Okay, jump over to YouTube if it just gets like, I can't deal with this today. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll check into it. But if it's sounding muffled, it's a good reason for me to go ahead and upgrade my phone to the 12. I just been waiting. My phone is paid off, and I just don't like to create bills for myself and unnecessary money. But if it's sounding muffled, then it's a business expense. Well, so, I use this. Well, I can kind of split I can split my usage. Yeah, but hey, still a good reason to upgrade. All right, I digress. Job chapter 20. Zophar's second response to Job. Then Zophar the Naamathite replied, I must reply because I am greatly disturbed. I've had to endure your insults, but now my spirit prompts me to reply. Don't you realize that from the beginning of time, ever since people were first placed on the earth, the triumph of the wicked has been short lived, and the joy of the godless has been only temporary? Though the pride of the godless reaches to the heavens, and their heads touch the clouds, yet they will vanish forever, thrown away like their own dung. Those who knew them will ask, where are they? They will fade like a dream and not be found. They will vanish like a vision in the night. Those who once saw them will see them no more. Excuse me. Their families will never see them again. Their children will beg from the poor, for they must give back their stolen riches. Though they are young, their bones will lie in the dust. They enjoyed the sweet taste of wickedness, letting it melt under their tongue. They savored it, holding it long in their mouths. But suddenly the food in their bellies turns sour, a poisonous venom in their stomach. They will vomit the wealth they swallowed. Yahuwah won't let them keep it down. They will suck the poison of cobras. The viper will kill them. They will never again enjoy streams of olive oil or rivers of milk and honey. They will give back everything they worked for. Their wealth will bring them no joy, but they oppressed the poor and left them destitute. They foreclosed on their homes. They were always greedy and never satisfied. Nothing remains of all the things they dreamed about. Nothing is left after they finish gorging themselves. Therefore, their prosperity will not endure. In the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. May Yahuwah give them a belly full of trouble. May Yahuwah rain down his anger upon them when they try to escape an iron weapon. A bronze tipped arrow will pierce them. The arrow is pulled from their back, and the arrowhead glistens with blood. The terrors of death are upon them. Their treasures will be thrown into deepest darkness. A wildfire will devour their goods, consuming all they have left. The heavens will reveal their guilt, and the earth will testify against them. A flood will sweep away their house. Yahuwah's anger will descend on them in torrents. This is the reward that Yahuwah gives to the wicked. It is the inheritance decreed by Yah. Last chapter for the day, Job chapter 21. Job's seventh speech, a response to Zophar. And Job spoke again. Listen closely to what I'm saying. That's one consolation you can give me. Bear with me and let me speak. After I have spoken, you may resume mocking me. My complaint is with Yahuwah, not with people. I have good reason to be so impatient. Look at me and be stunned. Put your hand over your mouth and shock. When I think about what I am saying, I shudder. My body trembles. Why do the wicked prosper, growing old and powerful? They live to see their children grow up and settle down, and they enjoy their grandchildren. Their homes are safe from every fear, and Yahuwah does not punish them. Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows bear calves and never miscarry. They let their children frisk about like lambs. Their little ones skip and dance. They sing with a tambourine and harp. They celebrate the sound of the flute. They spend their days in prosperity, then go down to the grave in peace. And yet they say to Yahuwah, go away. We want no part of you and your ways. Who is the Almighty, and why should we obey him? What good will it do us to pray? They think that their prosperity is of their own doing, but I will have nothing to do with that kind of thinking. Yet the light of the wicked never seems to be extinguished. Do they ever have trouble? Does Yahuwah distribute sorrows to them in anger? Are they driven before the wind like straw? Are they carried away by the storm like chaff? Not at all. Well, you say, at least Yahuwah will punish their children. But I say he should punish the ones who sin, so that they understand his judgment. Let them see their destruction with their own eyes. Let them drink deeply of the anger of the Almighty, for they will not care what happens to their family after they are dead. But who can teach a lesson to Yahuwah, since he judges even the most powerful? One person dies in prosperity, completely comfortable and secure, the picture of good health, vigorous and fit. Another person dies in bitter poverty, never having tasted the good life, but both are buried in the same dust, both eaten by the same maggots. Look, I know what you're thinking. I know the schemes you plot against me. You tell me of rich and wicked people whose houses have vanished because of their sins. But I ask those who have been around, and they will tell you the truth. But ask those who have been around, and they will tell you the truth. Evil people are spared in times of calamity and are allowed to escape disaster. No one criticizes them openly or pays them back for what they have done. When they are carried to the grave, an honor guard keeps watch at their tomb. A great funeral procession goes to the cemetery. Many pay their respects as the body is laid to rest, and the earth gives sweet repose. How can your empty cliches comfort me? All your explanations are lies. And that is the end of this chapter, Job chapter 21, and that is our reading for today. All right, so let us hop on over here. If I minimize the screen. All right. I know that was a terrible place to end, at least I think so, but hey, we'll pick it up tomorrow. All right, y'all. So we start a new chapter, chapter 11. Okay. So yesterday, this is a chapter that chapter 10 alluded to a few times, right? So we talked about the authors of the New Testament yesterday, and we're about to get into the puzzle of Decius Mundus. I hope I pronounced that right. I think they referred to it like 3 or 4 times, but they said that they would explain it in the next chapter, which is chapter 11. So let's get started. All right, Kurt, good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon to where you're at. All right, y'all. The Puzzle of Decius Mundus, chapter 279, is chapter 11. I believe that the Flavians did not intend to have sophisticated people like themselves take their invention, Christianity, seriously. Oh, boom. Let me go back and read the last little small paragraph, which is 2 sentences from chapter 10. And we talked about it towards the end of the video yesterday. Okay. Josephus, like the Apostle Paul, reminds the reader over and over that he is writing the truth. Perhaps this is one of the reasons the authors of the New Testament and the works of Josephus create the elaborate system by which their authorship of Christianity could be known. They did not wish those in the future who would one day discover the truth to think of them as liars. I believe that the Flavians did not intend to have sophisticated people like themselves take their invention, Christianity, seriously. Josephus describes the individuals who fomented the rebellion in Judea as slaves and scum. These are the individuals that Rome would have seen as being susceptible to an infatuation with militant Judaism. It was for this group, hoi polloi, that they created the religion. This is why the authors of the New Testament and Josephus felt free to put into their creations the puzzles and lampoons that notified the educated of the true origin of the religion. They did not believe that the masses, the uneducated slaves and peasants for whom Christianity was intended, would understand these puzzles, an assumption that has proven to be correct. However, they certainly wanted the puzzles to be solved eventually. Only then could Titus only then could Titus's greatest achievement, that of transforming himself into Jesus, be appreciated. My interpretation of the following passages is that they create a puzzle whose solution shows how the puzzles in the New Testament can be solved. The puzzle itself is quite easy to solve. The only difficult aspect of it is recognizing that the puzzle exists. Yesaf Shalom. There are three pieces to the puzzle. One of these is the Testimonium Flavinum, which is the name the scholars have given to Josephus's one and only very short description of the Christ. The other two pieces of the puzzle are the two tales that immediately follow the Testimonium. To date, scholars have not recognized that the testimonium and the two tales that follow it create a puzzle simply because they have failed to see that the three tales must have been created as an interrelated set. That is, they were created in direct relationship to one another. Once this position is understood, it becomes clear that they form a puzzle whose solution is also obvious. Here's the testimonium and the two odd tales that follow it. Okay, so this is 3 pages long, so actually 3.25 pages long. Okay, quote. Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, if it be lawful to call him a man, for he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such men as received the truth with pleasure. He drew over to him both many of the Jews and many of the Gentiles. He was the Christ. And when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men amongst us, had condemned him to the cross, those that loved him did not at first forsake him, for he appeared to them alive the third day, as the divine prophets had foretold these and 10,000 other wonderful things concerning him. And the tribe of Christians, so named from him, are not extinct at this day. About the same time, also another sad calamity put the Jews into disorder, and certain shameful practices happened about the temple of Isis that was at Rome. I will now first take notice of the wicked attempt about the temple of Isis, and will then give an account of the Jewish affairs. There was at Rome a woman whose name was Paulina, one who, on account of the dignity of her ancestors, and by the regular conduct of a virtuous life, had a great reputation. She was also very rich, and although she was of a beautiful countenance, and in that flower of her age, wherein women are the most gay, meaning happy or pleasant, not what gay means today in this generation, right? Adaya Shalom. Tiffany finally had to come over here, right? It was too much over on Facebook, right? Okay, I'm definitely gonna check into that. Okay. Yeah, recognizing the key, recognizing that the puzzle exists is key. All right, hold on. Let me read this over again about Paulina. There was at Rome a woman whose name was Paulina, one who, on account of the dignity of her ancestors and by the regular conduct of a virtuous life, had a great reputation. She was also very rich, and although she was of a beautiful countenance, and in that flower of her age where women are the most gay or pleasant or happy, Yet did she lead a life of great modesty. She was married to Saturnus, one that was every way answerable to her in an excellent character. Decius Mundus fell in love with this woman. He was a man very high in the esquich es what? I know how to pronounce this word. Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta sound it out. Esquitri- Esquitrian. Esquit. EQ. Hold on. Equestrian. Okay. He was a man very high in the equestrian order, and as she was of two of great dignity to be caught by presents, and had already rejected them, though they had been sent in great abundance, he was still more inflamed with love to her, insomuch that he promised to give her 200,000 Attic drachma for one night's lodging. Mm. And when this would not prevail upon her, and he was not able to bear this misfortune in his armors, he thought it the best way to famish himself to death for want of food on account of Paulina's sad refusal. And he determined with himself to die after such a manner, and he went on with his purpose accordingly. Man, the woman rejected you. Go on about your business. He thought, let me try and woo her with some money. But he, come on, man. She had everything she needed. That's not what's gonna get her attention. She got money. Try something else. And you was just trying to sleep with her. Well, they said he fell in love with her. He probably, if she would have given him the time of the day, he probably would have, made her his woman. But well, no. Anyway, I digress. Now Mundus had a freed woman who had been made free by his father, whose name was Ide, one skillful in all sorts of mischief. This woman was very much grieved at the young man's resolution to kill himself, for he did not conceal his intentions to destroy himself from others, and came to him and encouraged him by her discourse, and made him to hope by some promises she gave him that he might obtain a night's lodging with Paulina. And when he joyfully hearkened to her entreaty, she said she wanted no more than 50,000 drachma for the entrappings of the woman. So when she had encouraged the young man and gotten as much money as she required, she did not take the same methods as had been taken before, because she perceived that the woman was by no means to be tempted by money. That's what I just said. Make you read. But she knew that she was very much given to the worship of the goddess Isis. She devised the following stratagem. She went to some of Isis' priests, and upon the strongest assurances of concealment, she persuaded them by words, but chiefly by the offer of money of 25,000 drachma in hand, and as much more when the thing had taken effect, and told them the passion of the young man, and persuaded them to use all means possible to beguile the woman. So they were drawn into the promise to do so by that large sum of gold that they were to have. Accordingly, the oldest of them went immediately to Paulina, and upon his admittance, he desired to speak with her by herself. When that was granted him, he told her that he was sent by the god Anubis, who was fallen in love with her and enjoined her to come to him. Upon this, she took the message very kindly and valued herself greatly upon this condescension of Anubis, and told her husband that she had a message sent to her and was to sup and lie with Anubis. So he agreed to her acceptance of the offer as fully satisfied with the chastity of his wife. First of all, I don't care if it was a God that takes notice of you. You belong to me. You're my wife. No, you can't go sleep. What is that movie, y'all? With Wesley Snipes and uh Rosie Lopez. Where remember was it no, I'm sorry. Was it no, I'm thinking about White Man Can't Jump. Um the movie with Rosie Lopez and Woody Allen. And it was, I think I got it right. And it was this rich man that saw her. She was skating out on the boardwalk all the time, but a rich man saw her and he wanted her. And he offered them this, I think it was like $1,000,000 if I remember. This movie is really old. Offered $1,000,000 to them if he could have, I believe it was one night to sleep with her, right? And so they went back and forth about it. And it was like, oh, we can do it. It was already in the type position. Was Demi Moore? I got it all. I say Rosie Lewis. I'm mixing two movies together. Okay, so it was Indecent Proposal. What's it? Indecent Proposal? It's a couple different movies, but it was one. It was one with Woody Allen. I think it was Woody Allen and Rosie Lopez, because she was skating all the time. He said Woody Allen agreed to it. We can do with this money, but then he started thinking about it. Right when his common sense came back to him, like, wait a minute, another man about to run up into my woman. Right? Men can't get over stuff like that. Yeah, it was that. Okay, so men don't normally do well with those type of things, though, because they're not able to get those images out of their head. Even if they weren't there to see it, if they know about it, it just does something totally different to a man, where it's like, I agreed to this, but I didn't fully think this through, right? Granted, what was it? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to pull it up, y'all. I want to make sure it's the one I'm thinking about, but I mentioned that because of what they just said here. Remember, this is a righteous woman, right? Wealthy, wisdom, good reputation. Now they realize, okay, we can't fool this woman with money. We got to think about something else. And knew she was really devoted in her religion. So you have to be careful, right? They found out how they could get in. And she sheepishly laughed at him, went and told her man, what? A God? He gonna do what now? Okay. I mean, he is God. He could take you if he wanted to. I mean, so he was probably like, well, I might as well just kind of agree to this, because if he's truly a God, he can come take you regardless. So, I might as well kind of keep you. We just handle this situation like this. This is bull crap. No, I don't care if he is a God and he do what he can. Oh, that's pretty. Wait, what? You can do what? That's pretty interesting. I ain't gonna say it's not something you probably wouldn't sit and think about and consider, because most people probably would. But when their good common sense come back to them, they were like, yeah, you know what, I thought about this, and you know what, ain't no amount of money that I can be bribed with to part with this, right? Because having a faithful wife, even a faithful husband, somebody like that, there is no amount of money that you can give somebody in exchange for that. I want to take it and use it, and then I give it back to you when I'm done. Then you just defiled something that was sacred and set apart for only me. Nobody else has. It belongs to me, mine alone. Out of everything in the world, I share everything else, but this I'm not sharing. Right? It's just a totally different thing going on right here. Okay, I digress. I digress. So they were drawn. Hold on, let me go back up. Hold on, let me just go back up. Let me just go back up. Now Mundus had a freed woman who had been made free by his father, whose name was Ide, one skillful in all sorts of mischief. This woman was very much grieved at the young man's resolution to kill himself, for he did not conceal his intentions to destroy himself from others, and came to him and encouraged him by her discourse, and made him to hope by some promises she gave him that he might obtain a night's lodging with Paulina. And when he joyfully hearkened to her entreaty, she said she wanted no more than 50,000 drachma. Another ratchet sister, or I need some money. I hook you up, but I need this to go hook this up. Let's have her. And when he joyfully hearkened to her entreaty, she said she wanted no more than 50,000 drachma for the entrappings of the woman. So she had encouraged the young. Hold on. So when she had encouraged the young man and gotten as much money as she required, she did not take the same methods as she had taken before, because she perceived that the woman was by no means to be tempted by money, but as she knew that she was very much given to the worship of the goddess Isis, she devised the following stratagem. She went to some of Isis' priests, and upon the strongest assurances of concealment, she persuaded them by words, but chiefly by the offer of money, and of 25,000 drachma in hand, and as much more when the thing had taken effect, and told them the passion of the young man, and persuaded them to use all means possible to beguile the woman. So they were drawn into promise So they were drawn into promise so to do, by that large sum of gold they were to have. Accordingly, the oldest of them went immediately to Paulina, and upon his admittance, he desired to speak with her by herself. When that was granted him, he told her that he was sent by the god Anubis, who was fallen in love with her and enjoined her to come to him. Upon this, she took the message very kindly and valued herself greatly upon this condescension of Anubis, and told her husband that she had a message sent her and was to sup and lie with Anubis. So he agreed to her acceptance of the offer, as fully satisfied with the chastity of his wife. Accordingly, she went to the temple, and after she had supped there, and it was the hour to go to sleep, the priest shut the doors of the temple, when, in the holy part of it, the lights were also put out. Then did Mundus leap out, for he was hidden therein, and did not fail of enjoying her who was at his service all the night long, and supposing he was the god. Well, first of all, let me keep my hold on. Let me just keep my comments. Keep reading. Hold on. Wait. Let's go back. I'm gonna keep my comments to myself. Hold on. Accordingly, she went to the temple, and after she had supped there, and it was the hour to go to sleep, the priest shut the doors of the temple, when, in the holy part of it, the lights were also put out. Then did Mundus leap out, but he was hidden therein, and did not fail of enjoying her, who was at his service all the night long, as supposing he was the God. And when he was gone away, which was before those priests who knew nothing of this stratagem were stirring, Paulina came early to her husband and told him how the god Anubis. Wait, let me go back. She did what? She want to share the details. Hold on. And when he was gone away, which was before those priests who knew nothing of this stratagem were stirring, Paulina, she did. Paulina came early to her husband and told him how the god Anubis had appeared to her. Among her friends also she declared how great a value she put upon this favor, who partly disbelieved the thing when they reflected on its nature, and partly were amazed at it, as having no pretense for not believing it when they considered the modesty and the dignity of the person. I'm like, Paulina, say, what now? What? But now, on the third day, after what had been done, Mundus met Paulina and said, Nay, Paulina, thou hast saved me 200,000 drachma, which sum thou mightest have added to thine own family. Yet hast thou not failed to be at my service in the manner I invited thee. As for the reproaches thou hast laid upon Mundus, I value not the business of names, but I rejoice in the pleasure I reaped by what I did, while I took to myself the name of Anubis. Claude, have mercy. When he had said this, he went his way. I was about to say something. Oh, dirty. Hold on, y'all. Let me finish reading this. Keep my comments to myself, y'all. Look, hold on. I value not the business of names, but I rejoice in the pleasure I reaped by what I did, while I took to myself the name of Anubis. When he had said this, he went his way. But now she began to come to the sense of the grossness of what she had done, and rent her garments, and told her husband of the yo. But now she began to come to the sense of the grossness of what she had done, and rent her garments, and told her husband of the horrid nature of the wicked contrivance, and prayed him not to neglect to assist her in this case. So he discovered the fact to the emperor. Whereupon Tiberius inquired into the matter thoroughly by examining the priests about it, and ordered them to be crucified, as well as I, who was the occasion of their perdition, and who had contrived the whole matter, which was so injurious to the woman. He also demolished the temple of Isis and gave order that her statue should be thrown into the river Tiber, while he only banished Mundus, but did no more to him, because he supposed that what crime he had committed was done out of the passion of love. And these were the circumstances which concerned the temple of Isis and the injuries occasioned by her priests. I now return to the relation of what happened about this time to the Jews at Rome, as I formerly told you I would. There was a man who was a Jew, but he had been driven away from his own country by an accusation laid against him for transgressing their laws, and by the fear he was under punishment for the same, but in all respects a wicked man. He, then living at Rome, professed to instruct men in the wisdom of the laws of Moses. He procured also three other men, entirely of the same character with himself, to be his parents. These men persuaded Fulvia, a woman of great dignity, and one who had embraced the Jewish religion, to send purple and gold to the temple at Jerusalem. And when they had gotten them, they employed them for their own uses and spent the money themselves, on which account it was that they at first required of her. Whereupon Tiberius, who had been informed of the thing by Saturnius, the husband of Fulvia, who desired inquiry might be made about it, ordered all the Jews to be banished out of Rome. At which time the consuls listed 4,000 men out of them and sent them to the island Sardina, but punished a greater number of them who were unwilling to become soldiers on account of keeping the laws of their forefathers. Thus were these Jews banished out of every city by the wickedness of four men. End quote. And that's reference 152. That's that whole little thing he was just explaining. First, it should be noted that the two tales that follow the testimonium are oddly tangential. I'm sorry, y'all. Tangential are oddly tangential from the narration. Next week, hop down. Go ask your dad. Is your dad woke? Go ask dad. 5 days. 5 days. I just calculated 5 days. Go ahead. Thank you. First, it should be noted that the two tales that follow the testimonium are oddly tangential from the narration Josephus has engaged in up to this point, which describes Pontius Pilate's military activity in Judea. They stand out both because of their location, Rome, as well as their lightweight, ribald substance. Josephus is here using an unusual Judaic literary structure called pedimental composition, in which the different passages form columns of a temple. Josephus uses a particular pedimental style of composition in which three pillars form a literary temple. Reference 153. The two side columns are small, both concern issues having to do with the Jews, and the left-hand column is the famous passage about Christ. Unfortunately, scholars have focused on the left-hand passage while ignoring the overall literary composition and the overall rhetorical structure, which indicates that the focus of attention should be on the central column. It was another clever stroke for Josephus to use a temple-like literary structure to describe an account of a temple. This pedimental structure, with a focus on the central passage, similarly is used in the book of Leviticus, in which chapters 18 and 20 form the side columns, and chapter 19 forms the central column of a literary temple. Guys, voices down a little bit, please. Moreover, there is a claim within the tales that is verifiably false. The temple of Isis was not destroyed during this era, a fact that Josephus was aware of. He wrote that Vespasian and Titus had spent the night before the celebration of the completion of the Judaic war at the temple of Isis. This led me to question why Josephus knowingly records an obvious spoof as history. To begin this analysis, I want to point out what I understand about the name of the protagonist in the first and longer tale, Decius Mundus. Mundus is the Latin word for world or earth. The name Decius Mundus, I believe, is a pun on Decius Mus, a name given to both a father and son who were among Rome's greatest military heroes. Both father and son had devoted themselves, that is to say, in the midst of fierce battles, they had sacrificed themselves. The devotio was a religious ritual of the Roman army that was made to all gods, known and unknown, Roman and enemy. One of its purposes was to introduce the gods of the enemy to defect to the Roman side of a conflict. As I have mentioned, the Romans felt that they were divinely inspired to conquer. By the beginning of the first century CE, Rome had 400 years. By the beginning of the first century CE, Roman had 400s of years fought and conquered not only their enemies, but also the gods of their enemies. The devotio was a technique for neutralizing their enemies' gods. In the ritual, one Roman, together with the legions of the enemy, would be devoted to the gods. In effect, one Roman would sacrifice himself for the good of the many. Thus, Decius Mus offered himself as a sacrifice to all the gods, agreeing to give up his life in exchange for their assistance in taking the enemy along with him to the underworld. Quote, quote, at first, both armies fought with equal strength and equal determination. After a time, the Roman hastati, hold on, hastati on the left, unable to withstand the insistency of the Latins, retired behind the prince. I was about to say principles. The princip, the principes. Principes. During the temporary confusion created by this movement, Decius exclaimed in a loud voice to M. Valerius, Valerius, we need help of the God. We need the help of the gods. Come now, you are a state pontiff of the Roman people. Dictate the formula whereby I may devote myself to save the legions. Janus, Jupiter, Father Mars, Quirinius, Belonia, Lars, new gods, native gods, deities to whom belongs the power over us and over our foes, and ye too, divine mans, I pray to you, I do you reverence, I crave your grace and favor that you will bless the Roman people, the Quartes, with power and victory, and visit the enemies of the Roman people, the Quartes, with fear and dread and death. In like manner, as I have uttered this prayer, so do I now, on behalf of the commonwealth of the Quartes, on behalf of the army, the legions, the auxiliaries of the Roman people, the Quartes, devote the legions and auxiliaries of the enemy, together with myself, to the divine mains and to earth. To those who watch him in both armies, he appeared something awful and superhuman, as though sent from heaven to expiate and appease all the anger of the gods, and to avert destruction from his people and bring it on their enemies. All the dread and terror which he carried with him threw the front ranks of the Latins into confusion, which soon spread throughout the entire army. This was most evident for wherever his horse carried him, They were paralyzed as though struck by some death-dealing star. But when he fell, overwhelmed with darts, the Latin cohorts, in the state of perfect consternation, fled from the spot and left a large space clear. The Romans, on the other hand, freed from all religious fears, pressed forward. End quote. And that's reference 155. Decius' Mus, famous self-sacrifice, which parallels Jesus's, was performed to free the Romans from all religious fears. To accomplish this, he offered his life to both the gods of the Romans, which are the Quertes, and the gods of his enemies. This technique was aimed at appeasing the gods of Rome's enemies and thus freeing the Romans from the concerns about whether these gods would give divine assistance to their enemies. Notice that Decius also appeared to new gods. I suspect that Decius Mundus, or Decius World, would have been understood by a patrician as a pun, calling to mind Decius Mus on a worldwide scale, showing the Romans' global intention for their new religion. This wordplay, to show a larger scale for Decius Mus, is emphasized by the fact that mus means mouse in Latin. If a playwright created a character named Napoleon World, it would be obvious which character in history he was lampooning. Decius was perhaps Rome's most famous war hero. Hey guys, calm down just a little bit. Bella, that's kind of loud. You're gonna have to wait a minute. Bella, she gonna. I know. Try not. I know she wound that thing all the way up. Can you close it for a few minutes, Bella? It's kind of loud. She got a jewelry box that plays this song, and she keep winding it up, letting the song play. This wordplay, to show a larger scale for Decius Mus, is emphasized by the fact that mus, M-U-S, means mouse in Latin. If a playwright created a character named Napoleon World, it would be obvious which character in history he was lampooning. Decius was perhaps Rome's most famous war hero, and all patricians were aware of his exploits. For example, the Roman satirist Juvenal, writing during the Flavian era, waxed glowingly about the heroics of Decius Mus. Juvenal clearly understood that his audience was familiar with Decius and his devotio, as he refers to both without explanation. In Josephus's story, the author writes that Decius Mundus had a resolution to kill himself, for he did not conceal his intentions to destroy himself from others. Decius Mundus is thus parallel to both Decius Mus and Jesus in that none of them concealed from others their intention to destroy themselves. Josephus has placed this idea in parentheses, underscoring the importance of it. This revelation makes clearer the connection between Decius Mus and Decius Mundus. A Roman patrician would have understood a character named Decius Mundus was a lampoon of Decius Mus. It also establishes a parallel between Decius Mundus and Jesus. This parallel is clear because Jesus went out of his way to make others aware of his coming self-sacrifice. Quote, you know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man will be delivered up to be crucified. End quote. And that's Matthew 26, 1 through 2. The following passage from the Gospel of John likens Jesus' self-sacrifice to the devotio or the devotio of Decius Mus. Notice that Caiaphas, the priest who will later oversee Jesus' crucifixion, states that one man should die for the people. Hold on. Notice that Caiaphas, the priest who will later oversee Jesus' crucifixion, states that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perishes not. This is the very definition of the devotio or devotio. Also, Caiaphas makes clear his belief that Jesus must be sacrificed to save all the children of God, expressing the idea of a devotio on a worldwide scale. Quote, then gathered the chief priests and Pharisees a council and said, what do we, for this man doeth many miracles? If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, ye know nothing at all, nor do ye consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad. End quote. And that passage is found in John chapter 11, 47 through 52, verses 47 through 52. Watch your stuff. From the okay. From the perspective of the Flavians, Jesus' self-sacrifice is much like a devotio. The religion that Jesus established with his death certainly helped to neutralize the militaristic messianic Judaism that the Flavians fought against. In fact, to the Flavians, whereas Decius Mus's sacrifice had only helped save a Roman legion, Jesus' sacrifice can be said to have helped to save the whole Roman world, mundus. An interesting historical point to this line of thought is that while Jesus is certainly meant to be understood as the Messiah whom Daniel predicted would be cut off, the real meaning behind Jesus' self-sacrifice may lie not in Judaism, as had been universally believed, but in a rite of the Roman religion as a spoof of the devotio. Whether this conjecture regarding the parodic meaning of the name Decius Mundus is correct, it is the case that Decius, the name of Rome's most famous self-sacrifice, is the name of a hero of the tale that directly follows the Testimonium, Josephus' description of history's most famous self-sacrifice. Excuse me. I will show below that Decius Mundus and Jesus share a much more profound and unique parallel. If the sound is crazy over here, jump over to YouTube, y'all. I'm sorry. And you may, I don't know if you want to watch it over, you may have to watch it over on YouTube so it sounds clear. They already told me it's kind of sounding muffled and low. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to figure it out and fix it. The clearest clue to Josephus provides to inform us that we are dealing with a puzzle is that both the story of Decius and Paulina and the story of Fulva have the same plot. As I have shown, parallels within the New Testament and wars of the Jews are significant. In both tales, wicked priests deceive a woman of dignity, and in both tales, the woman's weakness for religion is exploited. Yo, excuse me. That is still happening in the church. It's still happening in the church. Women's love for want to do what's right and give themselves to you. You use y'all, Jesus, whatever. Excuse me, but you see it a lot. You see this particular type of weakness in women way more than you see it in men. Although you can see it in men, a lot of times women are more easily fooled with things like this, right? Because religion kind of, let me say this the right way. I don't want to offend anybody, right? Religion, not being spiritual, understanding and growing, but religion tends to dull the senses, and it will have you doing something that if you were in your right mind and thinking clearly without the the glossing over of your senses, it would have you doing things you wouldn't normally do, right? Now it don't even really have to be sleeping with priests. Excuse me. But it'll have you doing things like now give me what I'm saying is because there is nothing wrong with volunteering to help in a church or whatever different things. Get what I'm saying? But if you have a family to take care of and you are inundated with religion and you give yourself to it like 100%, you tend to begin to what's the word I'm looking for? You tend to not necessarily disregard, excuse me, because in your thinking, it's like you're doing this so God or Yah can bless you more. You're giving yourself fully over to this, but still you tend to begin to neglect what you should be doing for yourself and for your family, right? Example, say if you have big bills you need to take care of, and there's a church you go to and you love the people and everything, and they got positions that need to be filled. Anybody, but and those who have been in it, and this is not, well, it's a lot of churches that do this, but there are some who are actually able to give you what you're worth, like a real position, and pay you. But a lot of times working in religion, unless you like the pastor or some of the top people, you don't really get paid a lot, right? So and it tends, like I said, it tends to happen with women way more than it does with men, because men have this thing ingrained in them. Boy, you gonna pay me what? They can't take care of my family. You want me to spend all my time here in the church, following, traveling, and you giving me what? I'm sorry, Pastor, find somebody else for this position. I need to take care of my family. Women are caught up into this trap a lot, and they're spending all their precious time away from their family, serving in ministry. Not saying that those things are wrong, right? But you have to keep priorities straight, because they play on you, right? They play on your emotions, and oh, I can feel this, and sister, can you do this, and this and this and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can volunteer maybe one day a week, maybe just a few hours, but all the time, 24/7, you spending your time in here and they're not paying you, like, okay, this is time, right? I have a family, right? And especially if this woman is single and doesn't have a husband, unless her and her husband are at odds, her husband ain't gonna go for this crap unless the husband is already taking care of everything. But if their relationship at this point in time requires that they both work or whatever, or this is the agreement that they made, sis can't be working in a church unless if sis need $40,000 to help her husband, and her husband make 40,000 or whatever. If the church ain't paying sis $40,000, sis need to, sorry, Pastor, you need to find somebody else for this position, unless you can guarantee that I'm gonna get this salary or this or working hours, whatever. Compensation for the work giving me proper compensation for the work I put in. A lot of times, churches prostitute people and drive them down into the dirt. Their families are being torn apart. Even pastors pulling on them, draining them. They would do better to shut their doors and go get a regular job so they can take care of their family. And what they thought they were doing to help and bless their family actually begins to destroy their family and begins to split up their homes, brings contention between a husband and a wife, children getting pissed at you because you're spending more time with these children over here in the church. I ain't got time for that foolishness. We've seen that happen way too often, and it is a disgusting thing. How is something that's supposed to help your family destroy your family in the process, right? We gotta get it together. Religion has done some horrible things for our people, and especially not just our people, but all people who are entrapped by religion. Doesn't matter what race, nationality, ethnic background you come from. You see that same garbage happening everywhere, and it destroys families. Not all of them, but a lot of them. It brings contention when what they perceive is going to bring peace and wholeness and wellness. A lot of times, if you get into the wrong one, it'll end up destroying your family. Something it does the opposite of what you intended for it to do, right? So we gotta have balance there. So okay, let me go back to this. Okay, so gotta stop. Hold on. No, hold on. I read this.
Probably.
Oh, okay. But let me just go back up here since yeah, right. Worship the Most High only. Right. I will show below that Decius Mundus and Jesus share much more profound and unique parallels. The clearest clue Josephus provides to inform us that we are dealing with a puzzle is that both the story of Decius and Paulina and the story of Fulva have the same plot. As I have shown, parallels within the New Testament and Wars of the Jews are significant. In both tales, wicked priests deceive a woman of dignity, and in both tales, the woman's weakness for religion is exploited. Further, not only do both stories have the same plot, but they also contain a number of elements that are interchangeable. Both of these deceived women of dignity amazingly have husbands named Saturnius. Both these husbands named, hey guys, chill. Both these husbands named Saturnius just happened to know the emperor Tiberius, to whom each husband goes to complain about what has been done to his wife. In both tales, among other punishments, Tiberius then banishes one or more of the perpetrators. Josephus also provided other statements to help the reader recognize that the two stories are to be understood as a parallel and therefore interchangeable. First, he reverses the order in which he states that he would describe them. Quote, about that same time, also another sad calamity put the Jews into disorder, and certain shameful practices happened about the temple of Isis that was at Rome. I will now first take notice of the wicked attempt about the temple of Isis, and will then give an account of Jewish affairs. End quote. Guys, y'all are loud. Further, at the beginning of the third story, Josephus claims to be returning to an episode about the Jews at Rome, as he had formerly stated. Quote, I now return to the relation of what happened about this time to the Jews at Rome, as I formerly told you I would. End quote. However, it was the shameful practices of the temple of Isis that Josephus previously claimed to have occurred at Rome, not the episode regarding the Jews. Josephus does not mention where the sad calamity that put the Jews into disorder occurred. He last mentioned the Jews in a story regarding the persecution by Pontius Pilate in Judea. Josephus appears to be treating the two stories as though they were interchangeable. In doing so, he continues the strange logic that exists between them, since their only significant differences are in the names of some of the elements of them. So we'll pause right here, right, for today, because we are at an hour and 8 minutes. This is pretty good. I like how he was able to pull them parallels from them different stories and excuse me, see the parallel with JC as well, right? That's getting better, better. We're almost done with this book, y'all. I really got to get on it and see what we should be reading next, right? But we're gonna be done with this. Like I said, a couple weeks. Oh my gosh, this I didn't realize we was gonna get through this so fast, y'all. This is over 400 pages. I didn't realize we was gonna read through it so fast. All right, so with that being said, let me put my page here. Yes, baby. Hold on. I'll call you in a second.
I said I wanted to.
No, y'all, stop it. We're not gonna have this discussion every single day, okay? All right, y'all. It is Friday, October the 8th, 2021, day 273 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 942. We read Job 19, 20, and 21. And we read Caesar's Messiah, chapter 11, starting at page 279 to page 288. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing. And guys, it was cloudy last night, so I couldn't see the new moon. I'm checking today, and if it was spotted, it need to be verified in a few different places. I got to do my checking around. We start a new moon cycle today, and today will actually be day 1 of the new moon. The new moon, or i.e. new month. But let me double check. Don't quote me on it. I need to check it. All right. So, but if y'all know, if y'all was able to spot it, let us sister know. Okay. So, all right, y'all. The blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, starting at verse 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is a Nazarite vow. Man, no woman can take it, as Yahuwah says, right? And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah will kneel before us, presenting gifts, and will guard us with a hedge of protection. Yahuwah will illuminate the wholeness of his being towards us, bringing order. So he will provide us with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yahuwah will lift up his wholeness of being and look upon us, and he will set in place all we need to be whole and complete. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Like I said again, I'm sorry about Facebook. I need to figure out what's going on with the sound over there. Just double check. Make sure somebody didn't ask me a question. Kurt, shalom. I think I might have said hey to Kurt. If I didn't, Mom, shalom, shalom. Robert, Levine came. Yeah, I saw your comment. Levine came over. A few people from Facebook came over. Okay. Obedient to y'all. Yeah, Woody Harrison, Demi Moore. Yeah, that's it. Demi Moore out. Well, I was thinking. Yeah, you're right. It was Woody Harrison, Demi Moore. I was thinking Rosie Perez, and White Man Can't Jump. Woody Harrelson, Rosie Perez, and Wesley Snipes. Okay, I told you I was mixing up 2 movies. Thank you for that. Yeah, okay. Absolutely, Robert. No married woman should entertain the attention of another man. That's what we was talking about. Paulina's shenanigans. Okay, y'all. All right. Love y'all. That's it. I see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bruce. Come on, Tootie. And it says,
What is it?
It's Friday.
No, tomorrow you're not doing the video because it's Saturday.
No, I am doing it.
When?
It's not right there. Oh. Right there.
Saturday.
No. New moon. So the Sabbath day changes. Technically, the Sabbath day is in its proper order, but for us to make sure we keep it in its proper order, because we are using a Gregorian calendar, we have to rotate it on its days to make sure it stays in its fixed place as Yahuwah created it from the beginning, right?
This is so cute.
Tootie, girl, you gonna end this? You looking at pictures? All right, y'all. Tootie, I'm gonna end it myself. Go ahead, girl. End this.
Where is them?
They look like they're in Target baskets. Target, sis.
Lotto over there?
Yeah, they with their mom.